Tariffs are always popular because they're intuitive. Almost everyone, until they look at it, think that it must be a better idea to get foreigners to pay for stuff. Most people, it's human nature, we lead with our gut instinct and then we reason backwards. So most people do that, and then a few look into it and see that free trade always makes everybody richer. But we should never forget that we're the minority because we're arguing against human nature. Right? But let me make an appeal to logic for the supporters of Trump's policy. They make, as far as I'm aware, 3 arguments for tariffs. This will bring in money. Right? The foreign companies will be paying these levies and therefore we can lower taxes at home or have more money to spend. Argument number 2, they say we're going to reshore jobs. We're going to bring manufacturing back to the US. And then argument 3 is this is all just negotiation. It's a tool to break open the markets of other protectionist countries. Now, like I say, I think all of those arguments are wrong. But I would appeal to people's sense of logic to see that if one of them is true, the other 2 cannot be true. Right? Just think about it for a second. If tariffs are bringing in revenue, that's because all the foreign goods are still crossing your borders. So of course they're not creating jobs at home. Right? If, on the other hand, they're creating jobs at home, then they're not bringing in any revenue. And if they're just a negotiating tool, then by definition, they're not doing either of the other 2 things, right? So even if people kind of can't, even if they do, I think all of those are wrong, like for on a million, right? They're not a tax on foreigners, they're a tax on consumers. They prevent better jobs being created and higher paid jobs. And they are a terrible negotiating tool, as we're seeing, because it's a negotiating tool of pulling the pin out of a grenade and dancing around saying, look, I'm going to do this. You're not really threatening anyone else as much as you threaten yourself. This was the argument that was used in the 2018 tariffs. And the retaliatory tariffs that were brought in response to Trump's 2018 tariffs are still in place in the EU, in Turkey, in India, in China, and actually I think even in some cases in Canada. Right? So it failed utterly in its own terms. And the reason it fails is because tariffs fundamentally are like a suicide bomb. They may incidentally hurt other people, but they are guaranteed to hurt you. I get some people, like I say, don't, they're reasoning backwards from their hunch. I get that. But there are also people who understand perfectly well how self-mutilating a tariff is and who are going along with this because they want, access to the White House or jobs or whatever. And they really are disgraceful because they are jeopardizing a world economy that has raised us to unprecedented pinnacles of prosperity because they're too cowardly to say something that they know to be true.